is over.
Hi, this is Kyle Scarborough, Cult of Wyndham. You're listening to the Insiders Podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Insiders Podcast. My name is Joe, and my co-host Jeff is here as well. What's up, Jeff?
Not too much, man. How are you today?
I'm not doing too bad, buddy. We are recording this on Sunday, which is Easter Sunday, and I hope you guys all had a great holiday and a happy Easter to everyone out there. And I just want to say, if you are new to listening to us, if you have not listened to us before, please hit us up on our YouTube channel. We have a YouTube channel under Insiders Wrestling Podcast, and also check us out on all other podcast formats. We're available on Spotify, Apple, Google Play, Anchor, Pocket Cast, and many others. So please check us out there. If you're going to be listening on the road or anything like that, that's a great place to listen to our podcast. So again, welcome guys so much again for another episode of the Insiders. Man, these weeks sometimes just fly by, and man, we have been busy with interviews after interviews after interviews, and stuff that you guys are sending us. And again, thank you so much for doing that. And we are going to start off again this week, as we usually do. We call this segment J and J's Hot Topic of the Week. So there's nothing hotter, nothing more scalding hot right now than the Ronda Rousey discussion. And I know, Jeff, we talked to Gary a little bit about this. We were on with Gary Cassidy again. We had the pleasure of talking to him again, and loved the discussions we have with Gary. Such a great insight on wrestling. And I know we mentioned this and talked about this a little bit. So, Jeff, start us off and tell us what you think, man. I mean, I asked the chat in the community. I said to them, I put out a little poll, said, tell us your thoughts. Is this thing with Ronda a work or is it legit? And I said, and let us know why. So first of all, Jeff, tell us your thoughts. What do you think is going on here? And do you think it's a work or do you think this is something legit?
Okay, so I'm gonna take a cop out here and say it's both. I think she legitimately feels the way that she said she feels. And, that's her right to feel that way. You can go back and look at, some of her matches from last year, and you could kind of see that she looked very emotional and kind of distraught at times because of the reaction that she was receiving. And I think for someone like her who spent so much time at the top of the mountain to come to a new venture where, people aren't all singing her praises was a bit of a culture shock for her. But I do think that she legitimately feels the way that she said, but I do believe that this will be used as a work so that this can build up some legitimate heel heat for her and put her right back into something with Becky Lynch, or even have Becky Lynch and Shayna Baszler involved. I would like to see that, but I do think that, the creative mind of Paul Heyman could use that very, very well and just really cut some dynamic promos based on what she said on that podcast. So I do think it was a shoot, but I definitely think it's going to be used to work into a storyline. What about you?
Yeah, I great points. And I think when we were speaking to Gary about that, he kind of went that direction a little bit as well. Kind of thinking that it was they were setting this up for an angle down the road. So let me read out a couple things that you guys said to us. So let me start out by saying the Cheese. I'm going to call out the Cheese. Thank you, man. He's been sending us some stuff. I know he's a fan of some NWA. So thank you for your comments. And he wrote, it may be the overused angle referencing the fans' lack of respect to try and get over as a heel. Said Vince, Punk, Jericho, Miz all used it along with countless others before and countless more after. And then he's got a gift from Vince and says, "You will treat me with respect," with 2 exclamation points. So great point, man. Yeah, I mean, and if it is a work, it is used a lot. You're absolutely right, man. Absolutely right. And then we've got DJ B Tazzy. DJ, shout out to you, buddy. Again, another big friend of the podcast. He sends us a lot of stuff as well. Thank you for the comment. He wrote, "This is definitely a work. This has Paul Heyman written all over it." So there's 2 comments from you guys. And yeah, man, I didn't know what to think of this at first. And really, obviously I wasn't reading up enough because I didn't really hear about this until we conversated with Gary yesterday. I knew she was in the news, and obviously I know Daze did a video. So it was out there, but I didn't really formulate an opinion on it one way or the other until we talked to Gary, and then I went and did some reading up on it and stuff like that. Man, I don't know. And you know what, I think, and not to say that I don't agree with you, Jeff, and because I do, I think she's going to come back at some point. And I think this is, she came at the end of her title reign. You could tell that they were kind of making her the bad guy. Now, the question was, did the fans turn on her with Becky being on the rise? And did that really upset her? Now, I mean, listen, she could have been just doing a work, and it could have been just something she was formulating in her head, or like you had mentioned, she may just have looked very distraught, like she wasn't used to something like that, a reaction that she got, and saying that she deserved it when she got beaten up by Charlotte, I think it was. And so man, I don't know, I kind of think that, I don't know, maybe a little bit of this is some hard feelings. Now again, could she use that to her advantage? Absolutely. When she comes back, like you were saying, if she teams up with the 4 horsewomen and teams up with Shayna, obviously Shayna is a big time heel right now. And so, yeah, I mean, definitely can use it to her advantage. And like you said, she's going to be working with Paul Heyman. So Paul is a great storyteller. He's been doing this for a long, long time. So yeah, man, I mean, I don't know. I think it's like you said. Now you're saying a little bit of both, and I think I'm kind of leaning that way. But on the other hand, I kind of think too that I think she's just upset. I don't think that's I don't think she's making that up.
No.
Hey, do you think she could be, because this has been a rumor, right? This has been rumored since she was here last. Now that she's going to be working with, if she comes back working with Paul and she goes on to Raw, do you think she could be with Paul Heyman in a stable?
I think that would make a lot of sense. I think that would probably do her some favors, because what you have to do in wrestling is you have to listen to the crowd, whether it's a positive or a negative. And what we saw at the end of her tenure was she was getting a lot of heat from the crowd. And I think some of it is, and no disrespect to her, but I think if you look at kind of her ascent to the top of the division, she came in and automatically was on a WrestleMania card.
Yep.
Then she goes right into the title picture. And I understand that because she's a huge name and she just came from mixed martial arts. So it makes a lot of sense to do that. I think that having someone like Paul Heyman channel some of that aggression and anger that she has and use that and have him be the mouthpiece instead of her would do wonders for her career. I will say this though, and this is not in defense of Ronda, but she has a legitimate point in terms of how the fans treated her. I think that they were some fans were a little nasty to her at times. And I think part of that was because Becky had the rocket ship strapped to her back and she was soaring at that point, and it just made sense for them to put the title on her. But at the same time, I think that people kind of got a little stale with Ronda. And, I do think that she feels the way that she said she feels that,
Yep.
But I think it's also legitimate. Now, I'm not going to say that people have to love her, but I do think that she was picking up on professional wrestling quite well. But at the same time, what's your character? You're going into a division where you've got a lot of tough women. You've got a lot of very talented women in the ring and on the mic. And then you bring in this crossover star, so to speak, from mixed martial arts, and she's supposed to be like the baddest woman on the planet. And that's great, but there can't be 6 or 7 different baddest women on the planet.
Right.
Someone's got to state their claim to that, and then everyone else has to find their role. So I think if she does come back, they need to find a role for her that makes sense, that's not just a cookie cutter, oh, because you fought in a cage, you're the toughest person here. They've got to develop some things. Yeah. I will add this too, and if anyone has a chance, go back last year leading up to WrestleMania and see some of the interviews that Becky Lynch did in terms of her feelings towards Ronda. Now, I will say that Ronda made some really derogatory comments about professional wrestling. She said it was, fake fighting and all of this. And I think she even recently posted something saying, you don't get into 300 real fights. Yep. And again, I'm sure she probably feels that way, but I think some of that's a work as well. And listen, if she's doing this to drum up some heel heat, mission accomplished, because she's got a ton of people that hate her guts right now.
Oh, you got that right.
So, she's definitely, if that's what she's aiming to do, she's doing a great job.
Yeah.
But I think that the fans want to see something a little different.
Yep.
You've got Shayna Baszler. Basically right now, Shayna Baszler is like a carbon copy, except she's a little crazier at this point. So do something a little bit different for Ronda if she does come back that actually makes sense for the character.
Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yeah, excellent points. I would be super excited. And like you said, to go back to what you were saying, come up with something a little better. I think if she joins up with Heyman, look, he worked with somebody from MMA for years, right? He's been with Lesnar, so he knows how to handle that type of athlete. And then, man, if you have him with Lesnar and Ronda, both at the top of their game, both huge stars in MMA, that's pretty exciting. So,
heck, throw Shayna in there too.
Absolutely, man.
He's got all the cage fighters at that point.
Yeah,
he can create something that's unlike anything we've seen.
Absolutely. Oh man, absolutely. Let me get a couple more of the community in here. So Yoshi Sensei, again, thanks, man. He sends us a lot of stuff as well. He wrote, "She loves wrestling. She knows what comes with it," and a couple of emojis, laugh emojis. So yeah, that's true. She does know. I mean, she's been in the sport before, so what's to come. But she was a newbie and just kind of starting out. So maybe the expectations weren't the same, and maybe it just wasn't there. We also have Ain't No Dumb Blonde on Twitter. Thanks to you, she sent us comments in the past as well. She wrote, "My thing is, even if it's a work based in reality, just like Bray singing Nikki Bella's music in the Funhouse match. Ronnie's face at Survivor Series was not a work. The fans upset her, period. So they may be using it to further the story and create heel heat, yes, but it's not a false feeling." So that's very good comment, and that's kind of what we've been saying, I guess.
Right.
It could be working both ways here. If they are trying to generate some heel heat, then they are definitely succeeding, because, man, when you start insulting the fans, you are going to get major heat. And when she does come back, regardless of whether it's part-time or full-time or however it is, I mean, look, man, she had she got threatened by Nia Jax already. She got threatened by Alexa Bliss already. So, I mean, look, it's already there. And she didn't say anything bad about the locker room. She said that she likes all the girls there. So, but they came back at her and said all this stuff. So, man, it definitely is working. And then one last comment we got before you go, John, I'll let you finish it out.
Okay.
Adam Rotella. So shout out to Adam from 10 Pounds a Pod. Hey, listen, a little quick plug. If you like Adam Rotella, we got something special for you in our show. Adam's going to be on our show a little bit later. So he's going to have his own segment coming up in just a bit. But Adam just says, he put a GIF up and it's just constantly scrolling up the screen saying work, 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 work. So obviously Adam thinks it's a work. But yeah, go ahead, Jeff. Finish it out, man.
Okay, so going back to what you said about Nia Jax, I don't know if you saw the little video conference that I think it was Nia Jax, Paige, Renee Young, Natalia, and I feel like there were two other people, and I'm sorry I'm not mentioning their names, but they were talking about Alexa Bliss working with Ronda and how Ronda, in Nia Jax's words, which I find ironic, that Ronda was very unsafe to work with, and that Alexa didn't want to go and complain to anyone, and that that she just wanted to be a team player, and Nia Jax was kind of defending her. So when Nia came out with her comments, I guess it was yesterday, saying that she'd risk her job to go into the ring with Ronda, I mean, to be honest with you, I'd love to see them in a match, and not because I kind of get scared, because I feel like both of them can be unsafe at times. I think with Nia, I think the thing that happened with Becky was just a spur of the moment. She just got too excited and just gave a really, really, really snug punch that landed. But I would like to see those two, because I think if they can do that the right way and have those two go at it, I would love to see that.
Yeah. Oh man, yeah, I agree. That would be an excellent match. In either case, man, I think we're kind of both on the same page. I'm here where we're both kind of thinking it's a little bit of both, and I think that's what Gary mentioned when we spoke to him as well. So listen, guys, I know the poll's still out there. Again, I put it out today on Easter, so I know a lot of you guys were celebrating with family and everything today. But listen, it's out there. Let us know what you guys think. I read some of the answers off already. Obviously, I think we're going to be seeing Ronda back before too long, and look, that can't be a bad thing no matter how that works out. So once again, guys, this is something we're going to do every week for you, and if you have anything that you want to send along, that you want to hear us talk about, obviously we try to get the most hot things that are going on in wrestling for the week. So another great segment, and I hope you guys really enjoy that. So up next, guys, we have, listen, this was a huge thing, man. And Jeff called me up. Jeff got this whole thing started and the ball rolling here. And we have got a teaser for you guys. We have two teasers tonight, actually. The first one we've got coming right up now is a teaser for our interview that's going to come out tomorrow. So this one's going to come out after Adam Rotella, after 10 Pounds a Pod post show for whatever NWA puts out tomorrow night. So again, not exactly sure of the time yet. We will get that to you ASAP, so everybody knows. But man, this interview was amazing. Jeff, tell everybody who we got a teaser for, man.
So we got an interview with the Russian Nightmare himself, Nikita Koloff. And for the younger listeners, if you've never heard of Nikita Koloff, please go check him out. Go look up on YouTube some of his matches, and there are even some of his matches on the WWE network. But go check out his stuff. His story was just, the stories that he told during the interview were just fantastic. And I'll let you wait until the full interview comes out. But the names that he gave us of his high school football teammates, it's a who's who of professional wrestling greats.
Oh man.
And it's, like I said, his story is phenomenal. His story about his path to wrestling is crazy and something that most people would never expect. But we were really honored to have him on the podcast and to be able to spend nearly an hour with him. just talking wrestling. And honestly, we didn't even get to probably half of the stuff that we wanted to. We'll definitely hopefully have him back in the future, but really hope you guys enjoy this.
Yeah, man, it was a tremendous interview. I can't wait for you guys to hear it, because this is something that Jeff and I enjoy doing. And man, when we could dig into it with a guy who's been there and done that and been all the way up the top of the mountain, this is fantastic stuff. So listen, guys, we're going to play that teaser for you right now. Enjoy the teaser, and we will be back as soon as the teaser is done. Enjoy this, guys.
So we'll go back to your introduction into wrestling, and you talked about how you had this storyline pitched to you sight unseen. If you could briefly just tell our audience how it was that you started training for professional wrestling, because I found this story interesting as well.
Yeah, the interesting part of the story is there was no training in the professional wrestling. I mean, literally no training. When Animal called me that morning, he told me the story, and I asked him this question. I go, do they know I have no amateur wrestling background, none, like zero, and zero professional training? A lot of rumors fly around that I went through Eddie Sharkey's school. I did not. A lot of the other guys did. I did not. I was training for pro football. And so when I called Jim Crockett that morning, Joe gave me the number. I called Jim Crockett and I said, "Now, Mr. Crockett, you understand, before I come to a city where I've never been, you understand I've got no amateur background, no professional training. You understand?" He says, "Yes, I do." And I said, "And you're okay? Okay, and you're good with that?" "Yep." I said, "Well, what's the next step?" And he literally just said this. He goes, "Be in my office on such and such a day with your head shaved, bald." I go, "That's it?" Basically, "Yeah, that's it." I go, "Okay, see you then." So literally a 5-minute phone call, sight unseen. No cell phones in those days. So you're not snapping a selfie and sending it over. So 2 months later, I drove into it. I loaded everything up in my car that I had to my name, which wasn't much. All the money I had to my name, which wasn't much. Drove to a city that I'd never been to before. Walked into the office the day he said to be there. Introduced myself. And Nikita Koloff was born in the hallways of Charlotte, North Carolina that day.
Man, wow. Wow, that's unbelievable. That's a fantastic story. I mean, I would imagine they I would imagine they probably figured you were pretty well trained. I mean, if you were heading, trying to go for a career in professional football, that I'm sure, obviously back in the day and everything like that, there was a lot of training going on there. So I'm sure that's probably why they figured, hey, this guy's going to fit right in.
Well, the interesting thing, again, no pictures. No, I mean, he didn't say, "Send me a photo of you," or nothing. He just said, "Be in my office on this." I'm like, "Oh, wow. Okay." And the interesting part of the story is, to give you a little more backstory, the interesting part of the story is if I go back to age 12, when I fell in love with weightlifting, picked up a magazine called Iron Man.
Oh yeah.
It was a bodybuilding magazine. And really, I was infatuated by the guys. I'm like, man. And I remember saying these words. It's important part of the story. At age 12, I said these words. I said, "One day, I'm going to look like one of the guys in this magazine."
Wow. Fast
forward 12 years, I walk into Jim Crockett's office in Charlotte, North Carolina. And from maybe 100-pound fledgling kid at age 12, when I walked into Jim Crockett's office, sight unseen, so, in a sense, took a chance, but then I took a chance too, right? I took a risk and drove to a city I'd never been.
Absolutely.
When I walked in, what he saw was a guy, it was kind of weird. He asked me to take my shirt off. I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird, but okay. But he saw a guy that was 285 pounds, 8% body fat with a 34-inch waist. And so what I said I'd become 12 years prior is what he saw the day I walked into his office.
Wow. Wow, man, that's awesome. Well, there you go. That's it. Almost like it was definitely fate and everything like that there too. That's really awesome. Very cool.
Right, yeah, right place at the right time. I fully believe that. No question in my mind. Right place at the right time, and again, I mean, I still had to prove myself, but so the story is very unique in that way. But nevertheless, an opportunity, a door of opportunity was opened, and I walked through it.
That's awesome. And was it kind of the same way with how you were introduced to Ivan Koloff?
Yeah, well, so I'm in his office that day. He says, wait here. He walks out, walks back in with two guys who I didn't have a clue who they were. And he says, Ivan Koloff, Don Cornotto, meet your new tag team partner. And that was my first introduction to those guys. And they were doing interviews there at the office that day. They stuck me on the interview, said, look, you don't speak any English. Part of the story, right? You're just off the boat. I want your shirt off. Ivan, put your chains around his neck. Every time they do an interview, stand there, look mean. I go, okay, I don't have to talk. I stand here, look mean. That should be easy enough, pretty natural. And I get paid to do this, which I guess. I mean, we didn't even talk money. It just said okay, and we did hours of interviews, and then at the conclusion, Crockett said, "Be in Raleigh, North Carolina tomorrow night. You're going to wrestle on television."
All right, man, we are back, and man, oh, what a teaser that was, man, and what an interview it was. So excited to have him on, and what a pleasure it was to talk to Nikita Koloff. It was just amazing interview. So, all right, man. So we're going to transition right to our next segment because we've got a loaded show for you guys. Like I said, we got another interview coming up in a little bit. We have a segment from Adam Rotella. So again, I polled you guys. We put out another poll, and this was a few days ago. And because we're coming off of Wrestlemania and we just had our first Raw and our first Smackdown of the week, so good time to put that out there. I threw it out there and said, now that Wrestlemania 36 is over, what are you most looking forward to in WWE? I wrote, let us know. Comments will be shouted out in the show this week. And man, did we get a ton of you guys voting in this one. This is the biggest poll I've seen yet from you. And amazing, guys. I know we had over 300 and some people in this one and looked at this one, and a bunch of you guys responded. So I'm going to shout out as many of the responses as I can. And I'll just shoot it to Jeff real quick, man. So after we saw the first Raw and first Smackdown, what's got you peaked, man? What's got you looking forward to what we're seeing the most from WWE or really anyone for that matter? I mean, NXT, we saw E-Dub. What made you excited and looking forward to the most?
So I guess I'll start with Raw. I was really happy that Bianca Belair got called up to Raw. I'm really excited about what they do with her. And we talked to Gary about this a lot in our interview with him. But I really want to see what they do with her because her talent is so unique. She's extremely good on the mic. She's phenomenal in the ring. Her strength is unreal. So I really want to see what they do with her. I'd love to see her in the Money in the Bank picture at some point. To kind of segue, I like the momentum that they're building with Liv Morgan. And I feel like her win against Natalya was a kind of a stepping stone, so to speak. And her match against Asuka on Raw was great. I really want to see what they do with her because to be honest with you, I can see her in the title picture at some point this year, which, I mean, I think she deserves it at this point. Gary actually called her the most improved performer on the roster for this year, which is that was a huge compliment coming from him. So, I really want to see what they do with her going forward. moving to NXT,
Before
I'd
you
like
start,
to. Yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
yeah.
Let me get in a couple tweets real quick because I have a ton of stuff. Sorry about that, man.
No.
So first, let me just start. Jessie Callan, Jessie from Callan's Corner. She wrote, "I'm most looking forward to what's about to happen next with Bray because we know it's going to be good. Also looking forward to seeing more from Mandy and Otis. Obviously, yeah, that storyline continues.
Yeah.
PB Green, man, PB Green. Shout out to you, buddy. But what do they do with Braun as champ will be interesting, and of course, Bray, anything. Monica King, shout out to Monica. I'm wanting to know what's next for Edge. Oh man, yeah, absolutely. Definitely, man. And then we got Moda. Moda loves to write us stuff, man. Shout out to you, buddy. This one's a long one. The obvious answer is seeing what happens with Bray, Cena, and the Firefly Funhouse. However, I'm going to go in a different direction. The first thing I'm excited about is having 2 full-time champs on Raw and SmackDown. I'm an old school wrestling fan, and I've always thought the champion and the belt should always be shown, highlighted, and showcased every single week. Now, the champion doesn't always have to defend it, but you should be able to see it each week. Also looking to see what new stars WWE is going to push. I also do want to see WWE get more creative in the terms of doing more unscripted stuff like promos, matches, etc. We're in an age of wrestling where that is becoming more commonplace, and WWE needs to jump on that bull and ride it, at the end with a smiley face. So thanks for that, man. That's a great comment. Absolutely. And Yowie Wowie. Man, shout out to you. He sends us a lot of stuff as well. 2 things. I need to know what's next for Bray and John Cena, and I'm also interested in how AJ Styles will return to TV. All great answers, man. And then we have Human Detox writes, I'd love to see a new NWO. Hogan returns and makes Cena the new head guy. Fiend / other Bray characters get more and more of the roster to let him in, turning them all against Taker. Taker gets attacked week after week until finally they have a showdown we've all been asking for. Whew. Man, that's crazy.
Wow. That's
205 podcast writes, he just wants to see fans, man. Fans, and then writes LOL. Don't we all?
Yes.
Don't we all?
Never thought we'd say that, but yes.
Man. Oh, yeah, no kidding, man. When the fans finally come back in the arenas, I think Dave said this, and we can never say, hey, this crowd is cold again. So, yeah, definitely. So go ahead, Jeff. I'm sorry. Finish up your thought.
No, yeah, no problem. So with NXT, I'll just speak on this real quick. I want to see either Johnny Gargano or Tommaso Ciampa move to either SmackDown or Raw. Mm-hmm. Same with Velveteen Dream. I feel like we haven't seen enough of him, so I want to see more of him. And then obviously going to SmackDown, I got to know what's next for Bray. Obviously, we got that Firefly Funhouse at the end of SmackDown on Friday. Yep. So I want to see how this whole thing with Braun works out. I'm not as concerned with Cena yet. Yep. I think that's a long-term storytelling play. Hopefully, at either Money in the Bank or something down the line, we see kind of that transformation. But I want to see Bray and that character continue to evolve. We got that growling sound. I don't know if you were able to go back and listen to that.
I did.
But we got that. Okay, so you heard it. You absolutely heard it. So we got that growling sound. The lantern was almost audible.
Yep.
When the lantern was speaking to Bray. So I want to see some of that develop. Obviously, there's a ton of other stuff I could talk about, but those are the things that I'm most looking forward to, Joe.
Nice, man. Hey, I'm gonna go with some other stuff here too. There's so much. I mean, we just got over WrestleMania, and now they're already building toward Money in the Bank. So Money in the Bank is an underestimated pay-per-view. And again, we keep quoting this interview with Gary. It was a great interview, and we're gonna get this one to you as soon as we can. Also, we are just, we have so many interviews to push out to you guys that we want you to hear. But Gary mentioned Money in the Bank being kind of underrated, like it's a wild card really, because whoever gets these, now all of a sudden you have an added element. And he brought this up, and it's a great point, because now you get a little more excited. You wonder when they're going to cash that in. And it's not like it used to be where they wait a ton of time and cash it into a big pay-per-view. It can happen really at any time. So it does add that element. And I'm looking forward to see, because I think Edge is going to go and get in that Money in the Bank, and I'm really hoping that Edge comes out of that with that briefcase, because man, would that really add something to this whole picture. Who does he go after? Does he go after Drew, or does he go after, whoever? Does he go after Braun? What's going to happen with Braun and Bray? Does Bray has it? Are we going to see Edge go after Bray for the title? I mean, so many possibilities there. So I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward. The Money in the Bank matches are starting up this week, so looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. I know we talked about Asuka, right? I'm an Asuka fan as well, and I'm looking to see what she's going to do now that the Kabuki Warriors may be on the verge of splitting up, going their own way. Now does Asuka get involved in Money in the Bank? And does Asuka get the briefcase? Does she become the next one that can just come down and challenge? I know she was going after Becky, but hey, does she come into the picture now and challenge Bayley? I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah.
So there were other announcements as well. I know that NWA is going to do their Crockett Cup, so that was a great announcement to see, because no one really knew what was going on with NWA. They've been kind of quiet the past few weeks, giving us some great older material and stuff to watch. But, man, they came out with that announcement, and that is exciting. Very excited to see that that's still going to happen, regardless of the situations outside. Then we have AEW with their tournament going on as well. And Cody had a very good match this past week. And the things going on there, you've got Jake Hager going up against Moxley. So you've got a lot of stuff developing there. You still have the Matt Hardy thing to look forward to. So
that elite deletion with Jericho that he challenged him to this past week.
That's right. Yes,
Yeah.
he did. He challenged him to that match. So what's going to happen with that? With Broken Matt that things are going to get absolutely insane crazy. So what kind of a match are those two guys going to deliver? I'm going to go back to some of your comments, man. We got Oliver Ewar Woowar. Oliver says, the continued evolution of The Fiend in Firefly Funhouse. He says, Killer Cross in NXT. Yeah, man, we got Killer Cross. We had a Killer Cross sighting, right? After the match was over, he was in the car with Scarlett Bordeaux, and so we had a sighting of him. Where does AJ go? And this was mentioned earlier. What's going to happen with AJ? We don't know. I mean, obviously he said he's okay on his Twitter account, but again, they didn't show anything from that, ramifications from that. So where does he go? And then he also writes, hopefully some new factions, like a Samoan dynasty coming to WWE, man. Yeah, factions are always good. We have Twisted Time. He says, looking forward to what is going on with The Fiend and have seen it as playing some role in it. We have Andy with a Y, really looking forward to getting back to normal, to be honest. I hope we see some changes in how WWE do things and perhaps take some positives from the whole virus mess. We have Wrestling News, says Money in the Bank. My predictions are Sasha and Roman winning Money in the Bank contracts, and I want to see Rollins versus Edge to get payback on Seth. Yeah, man. All good stuff. Jeffrey writes, what's next for Bray and The Fiend? So obviously Bray is a big one here. DJ B Tazzy again, man, exclamation points. I'm looking forward and seeing who's going to challenge for the WWE and Universal Championships. Someone new going to emerge, or someone we knew that's going to challenge for the title. Plus, who is The Fiend going after next? So, man, oh man, so much good stuff. I don't know. Like, who do you call in for? What are your calls for Money in the Bank? Who do you think's gonna come out and have those briefcases for Money in the Bank?
Oh man, that's a good question. On the women's side, I kind of alluded to it earlier, but no, I'm gonna change my pick. I think Sasha will win Money in the Bank.
Good pick.
And I think that what will happen is she'll have that choice if she's going to go after Becky or Bayley. And I think by that point, the story will have evolved where she'll go after Bayley. In terms of the men, selfishly, I really want Edge to win it because I think he'd be amazing. But here's a dark horse for me. Cesaro.
Ooh, wow.
It's his time.
That is a dark horse, yeah.
It's past due for him to really get a push. Even if he doesn't win it, I'd love to see him go after it. But here's a wrinkle that I'm going to throw in there. For either Edge or Cesaro, I'd love to see them either one of them challenge Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship.
That's a good
I
call.
think both could put on great matches with Sami Zayn.
Absolutely, man. That's a great call. And yeah, man, I said my picks there. I really want to see Asuka win it, and man, yeah, I want to see Edge get involved in that title picture somehow. Got some more comments, guys. We have Kofi 6195. Shout out to you, buddy. What happens to the Firefly Funhouse next, and especially Huskus? Well, we all know Huskus survived, right? So
He survived.
We're good. Huskus is alive and well. Rusty Shackelford. Rusty. Personally, I'm really looking forward to finding out more about John Cena NWO tweets. I want to know if the Funhouse is over and we get a progression from Bray into something darker and more sinister. And I want to see more Asuka doing anything Asuka does. So there you go. Yeah. Wrestlemania writes, dudes, come on. You know, we are all hoping for Mr. 3-time Money in the Bank. And she has a picture of Edge. So yes, man, Edge has been that Money in the Bank champ. Dale Creasy, number 2, having Drew McIntyre have a good run with the title. Oh, man, absolutely. That's a great shout. Obviously, we got a little nervous there at the end.
Oh, my goodness.
Little nervous. Did we think they were going to pull that off of him and give it to Big Show? Man, oh, man.
I would have been extremely pissed if that would have
I think
happened.
everybody.
But they had us on the edge of our seat, so, I mean – mission accomplished there, but my goodness, that was a little too close for comfort.
Oh, it definitely was. It definitely was. We have Coaster Maniacs. Coaster Maniacs, shout out to you, buddy. He says the Cena Fiend fallout, but also the first show back with fans. So, yeah, definitely, man. That's a great call. Dave in real life. Dave is a big fan of the podcast and the community. Of course, it's the fallout of Bray Cena, WrestleMania segment and match, and seeing what happens to Cena, plus where does Bray and Fiend go from here. Swamp Manor, he says, Money in the Bank. Imperial Wrestling Podcast says, I would like to see a tournament like the NCAA that lasts a few weeks to keep a good buzz going. So, hey, man.
That's interesting. I really like that idea.
That's very interesting. Very cool thought. And AEW is doing something like that. They have their tournament going right now. So, yeah, man, always good to see some new stuff. And that's a great call out, buddy. Brett Wilson says the obvious answer is for WWE to give Bray Wyatt a proper push. But how about Dolph Ziggler? He's way better of a wrestler than what WWE thinks of him. In my opinion, he could have been the next Shawn Michaels. Wow. Okay.
I would agree with that.
Shout out to you, man. That's definitely something to consider. Sure. We have IMW podcast. My brain says Drew, but my heart says Otis with a laughing emoji. We have Bertrice M saying, I'm looking forward to what's next for The Fiend and who he's going to target next. I'm looking forward to some new and interesting feuds. We have Good Guy. Dave says, everything is one day at a time. Can't really look forward to anything in this situation. Yeah, I agree. And look, there's always going to be – listen, the cool thing about the community is everybody's got a different opinion, right? Everybody says different things. We even have this one. I love this one. And this says, because Stone Cold said so, spelled C-O-S. He says, my refund for my Mania tickets, LOL. Otherwise, he says, Bray Wyatt hopefully moving on from The Fiend. Unpopular opinion, I know. Wow. So he wants his money back for his WrestleMania tickets. Hey, man, listen, I don't blame you one bit there. And,
not at all.
And he wants him to move on from The Fiend. Wow. So, man, you guys are great, man, and I love all of that stuff. But the bottom line is we've got a lot of stuff coming up. So one thing ends, another begins. And, we didn't really know where we're going from WrestleMania, right? A lot of people were saying they don't know if they're going to do any more tapings. Seth Rollins came out and kind of swerved everybody in a way and kind of said in an interview that they were stopping. They weren't going to do anything. It was going to be a stoppage kind of a thing. But obviously, that's not happening, and WWE's going forward. Now we have news that NWA is going forward, right? And now we've got NXT is pushing forward with some new stuff. I know Triple H announced he's going to be on SmackDown in a couple of weeks. So What's going to happen there? I mean, everybody was saying Fiend attack on Triple H, but it doesn't look that way now unless he gets something going with Braun. And then we've got AEW going forward with their tournaments and their, feuds. So, man, it's just great to see. And no matter what you guys all said in these posts and everything like that, and what me and Jeff are feeling, at least things are moving forward and we are getting wrestling, which is the coolest thing, man. Jeff, final thoughts on this topic. I'll read a couple more of the posts and then I'll let you take over. So we still had a couple more. We had Jake Goody 2009 said Friday when we find out what's happening with John Cena. Neil Byrne says a talented announce staff. Michael Cole is rough at best. Oh man, we had Kieran Poss. They say that we can actually see the WWE Championship and Universal Championship every week. We had that shouted out prior. Great stuff, guys, man. And we really appreciate that. We love to shout this stuff out for you guys, and you really, really let us hear your thoughts on this topic, and I can't thank you guys enough. So, man, I'm excited. I know you guys all are too. Man, you guys had days streaming every single day this week. So there's always something out there, right? There's old content, new content. We've got stuff coming. So pretty exciting stuff, man. So up next, this is something brand new. And we had been in talks. I know you guys all know Adam Rotella, right? Adam is the host of 10 Pounds of Podcast, and he loves NWA. He's very involved with NWA, and we are privileged and honored to have Adam come on our show. And Adam's going to do an NWA wrap-up segment on our show every single Monday. So coming up right now, we've got Adam, and Adam's going to do, this thing is called, and him and Jeff kind of collaborated on this because Adam was saying, well, I'll come on and talk for 5 minutes. Jeff kind of said, why don't we make it 6 minutes and 5 seconds, because that is the match times for NWA. So I, bounced that off of Adam, and he's like, love it, absolutely love it. So coming up right now, we're going to send you to that segment. Adam is going to have again, like I said, it's going to be a weekly segment here, and this is going to be Adam's NWA 6 minutes and 5 seconds. So let's hear that right now.
Hello, and welcome to the first of many 605 with Adam Rotella. Now, first of all, I'd like to thank John and Jeff for inviting me onto their podcast to spend a few minutes every week to talk about the NWA, something that I am very passionate about. And I think that if any of you out there have had the pleasure of watching Wrestling Daze stream NWA Powerr, I think that you guys also know the passion that our good friend Wrestling Daze has for the NWA. So to be a part of this is very exciting for me. And I'd just like to thank every single one of you that are listening as well for welcoming me into this community. I've really found a whole lot of new friends, and I've spent hours and hours in the Wrestling Daze streams just like yourselves. So thank you, everybody. And as you can see, I am trying to stretch for time in this 605-minute audio clip of mine, because at the moment, wrestling seems to be at a standstill, and the NWA right now is definitely at a standstill. I think that once we are out of this coronavirus, whatever it is, the NWA will be starting at square one again, which for most companies might be a step back, but I think for the NWA, the talent involved, and especially the office and the minds of the NWA, it's not going to be a step back at all. It's actually going to be a fresh start, something that the NWA just might have needed anyways. Now, you might be asking yourself, what content is out there for the NWA right now? And I would love to point you folks in the direction of some of the talents social media and some of the talents YouTube. Now, Thunder Rosa is one of the most active people on social media on the NWA roster, and her YouTube is up and running, and she is pumping out content like no other talent with the NWA right now. So please, please, please subscribe to the Thunder Rosa YouTube. Just last week, her and her husband played the Not So Newlywed Game. I saw a lot of you in that chat room and a lot of you interacted with us. So thank you very much for joining the Thunder Rosa live stream. And definitely join us this Thursday where Thunder Rosa will be reviewing the Tiger King documentary. If you guys have not watched that, that's going to be on Netflix. It is a wild and crazy crime-filled documentary with a guy that kind of looks like Zicky Dice. Also on YouTube, we have Camille, who every week has been giving us a makeup tutorial video. Now, I know what some of you gentlemen might be thinking. I don't want to be watching a makeup tutorial video, but my friends, yes, you actually do, because Camille doesn't speak. So she gets people like Stu Bennett to do commentary over her makeup tutorial. She gets people like Eddie Kingston to do commentary over her makeup video. I think Eddie Kingston was kind of stabbing up some foundation in the last one, if you ask me. And, of course, we have Zicky Dice Social Media, who is completely crushing it right now, keeping himself in the forefront of everyone's mind to let them know that he is still the NWA TV champion, and he will lick that championship even if the coronavirus tells him not to. And of course, we have my own daily content on 10 pounds of content. I recently brought back the series NWA Coffee, where, like in wrestling, you have a cup of coffee somewhere. It's a very short morning segment that I will be doing every single day to go through what happened on NWA's social media and things inside the NWA news that you just might want to know. Also happening in wrestling, we had the release of the Revival from that startup promotion up north. And I just have to say in these last couple minutes how well the Revival would fit inside of the NWA. Their style is no flips, just fists. And I got to say that attitude goes very, very well with the hardcore audience, the hardcore traditional audience that the NWA is serving right now. So my friends, I would love to see the Revival skip over that startup promotion, WEA, and come directly to the NWA. I think that the Revival would be a very classic fit, a very great rival for our tag team champions, Eli Drake and James Storm. I think that if they made a Crockett Cup appearance, it would be absolutely phenomenal. Now, we do not know when the Crockett Cup is happening. We do not even know if the Crockett Cup is going to happen right now. There are so many things up in the air for the NWA, and I don't think that that's a bad thing. I think that that is a very exciting thing. I think that the NWA, out of any promotion out there right now, has the ability to start from scratch again and build up our fan base and get that momentum that we once had. Because, my friends, when Powerr started, we did have that momentum, and we will achieve it again. My name is Adam Rotella with 10 pounds of podcast. Respected journalist, everyone please have a magical day.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed that segment, and I know there are a lot of people in our community who like NWA and watch NWA every Tuesday, and I'm one of them. Jeff is one of them as well. I know we both are fans of that, and again, I hope you guys enjoyed the Thunder Rosa interview that we had prior to Raw tonight. I know Jeff and I loved it. Jeff, man, I know you loved that interview.
Yeah, and I mean, we put the preview clip out for what she said about what it takes to make it in professional wrestling. I just loved her candor and openness with us, and she's such a great person, and shout out to her for coming on to the show. I was just again just honored that we could have someone of her caliber be on our podcast.
Oh, man, we were so, again, very honored to have the women's champ of the NWA. She's also the international princess champion. She won that overseas. And, man, we had some great talks with Thunder Rosa. She told us what it was like, living on the road, going over there a lot. She said how she loves going to Japan and overseas. Talk to us, like Jeff said, about getting into the business and stuff, man. You guys, that was such a great interview. Can't be more honored that she was on our show. So, man, oh man, if you have not watched NWA and you haven't watched Thunder Rosa wrestle, you're missing out. Go and take a look at NWA. Look at some of the older matches. Check them out. And obviously check out Thunder Rosa's store and she's got a ton of merch and really cool stuff. So if you haven't done that, go to thunderrosa.net and check that out as well. So, man, up next, we have our weekly community segment, right? So it's time for the community shoot. And this is something that we do with you guys and for you guys every single week. So we have a lot of good stuff that we got, again, from you guys. We have a collection coming up. We have some art coming up. We have some pictures coming up. I know we got a ton of stuff again from you guys. And again, we can't thank you guys enough for sending this stuff out to us week by week by week. You guys just send us this great stuff time and time again. And we can't thank you enough. This collection is from KJ, man. This is from famous KJ, right? We see him in the chat all the time. So, man, shout out to you, buddy. He sent me pictures from his wrestling collection, and it looks like we got some figures here. His collection I have a lot of collectibles as well on very similar looking shelves, man. So looks like he's got a figure of Ultimate Warrior. He's got Undertaker. It looks like Stone Cold Steve Austin. I see a Terry Funk figure, man. How cool is that? And so what a great looking collection of figures he's got, and he's got them all very, very cool, very nicely displayed on those shelves. So, man, shout out to you, buddy. Thank you for sending that. And as we always say, please, guys, send us those pictures. Send us your collection pictures, display them, show us what you got, whether it's a title belt, whether it's figures, whether you've got some autographs, whatever, send them our way. And we always love to display those things for you guys. And also, we have, as we always do, we always have the artwork, right? We talked to Sonny Wolf this past week. Sonny Wolf, we couldn't possibly, we'd need 2 shows, Jeff, to get all of Sonny Wolf's artwork on the show.
Yeah. Hashtag art bomb.
Art bomb, man. You guys are super talented, and thank you for getting all those things into us, man. We love it. And again, we're going to display those for you, as much as we can. Send us whatever it is you're working on, whatever it is you're doing, whatever that may be. So we're going to show those now, and we're going to just talk a little bit before we close this one out. So first off, guys, I want you to know what we are going to be doing, right? So, and I went over this the last couple of weeks. I know I throw it out there on Twitter, but just so you guys know, man, we've got a load of stuff coming for you guys this week. We had the Thunder Rosa interview today. We've got the Nikita Koloff interview tomorrow night. Don't miss that interview. So good to hear from wrestling legends. We've got another interview coming on Wednesday. That's going to be after the AEW and after the NXT stream. And that's with a wrestler named Will Allday. Will Allday, man, it was a great interview. Another gentleman who is in a wrestling, he's in the Indies. He works for the wrestling company that is owned by Booker T. So he tells some stories about Booker and working with him. And that was just a tremendous interview. So that's coming on Wednesday. And then, man, this coming Friday, oh, what another fantastic interview about a guy who's worked with Bray Wyatt side by side. This is Jason Baker. Jason gave us a good interview yesterday, good amount of time he spent with us. And we tell all these guys too to come in the chat. So you never know when someone's going to drop in chat and talk to you guys. And Jason was fantastic. We talked to him about some horror stuff. I know, Jeff, man, we were both like really excited going into that interview.
Oh, yeah, because anytime we can talk horror movies and, special effects and that kind of stuff, we love to do that. So it was really good to speak with someone who not only has worked very closely with Bray Wyatt, but a huge hero of mine and Joe's,
Yep.
The great Mr. Tom Savini.
Man, he told us a lot of things about Tom in this interview, and the interview was great. We covered a lot of stuff from horror movies to the movie industry to, you know, what he did for Bray and how he helped create that mask, and then kind of went back to the horror thing a little bit, and then we kind of went a little back and forth. We asked him about his favorite horror movie, talked about Tom a little bit, gave us an insight on what it was like to work for him, and then went right back to some great stuff he gave us about Bray's Lantern as well. Man, we found out some stuff about that. Not going to give that away. So listen, guys, listen to that podcast. That's coming out this Friday before SmackDown. So that's going to be released at 6 before the stream for SmackDown and Raw. And man, Jeff, tell them what we have yet on the horizon that we couldn't even get to this week.
Oh my goodness. So we've got Gary Cassidy, who's coming up. We're working on a couple of different interviews with one legend in particular. I won't give it away just yet. We've got a couple more insiders in the wrestling industry, and anybody else that you want to share, because we've been inundated with
man, I know we've got
interviews.
Jason. We've got Jason Peace this week from the community. We also have Brandy from our community. She reached out to us via YouTube. Brandy gave us an amazing kudos and a shout out for loving the Daze community and loving our podcast. So Brandy's going to come on this week as well. And we have more of you guys. I know Coaster Maniacs we've talked to. We're going to have him on the show. Moda we talked to. We're going to have him on the show. We have so many people from the community that want to be on our show. And man, I can't say how flattering that is. We wouldn't be here without you guys. And I love the fact that you guys are all showing interest in coming on. Jessie Callan said that she asked me, she said, hey, you know, I'm thinking I'm going to come on the show. So, you know, hopefully Jessie will get in touch with us soon and, you know, tell us when she wants to be on the show as well. So yeah, we just have so much coming up. We're constantly working with, you know, other indie wrestlers, other superstars that we're trying to get on the show for you guys, because we know that you enjoy this kind of stuff just as much as we do. So again, man, kudos to all you guys. Thank you for everything you do. Thank you for sending us the stuff. Thank you for sending us the shout outs. Thank you for everything, because again, we are here for you guys and we are just absolutely having a blast. Can't be more happy with how everything is going with this. So wow, what a show. Again, guys, thank you so much for being a part, for sending in everything. And man, I can't wait for you guys to hear all these awesome interviews that we have coming out. And again, I'll say it like I did at the beginning of the show. If you guys have not liked and subscribed to our YouTube channel, please do so. Go there now, hit that like button, smash that subscribe, and join us every single week and join us for these amazing interviews. And also listen to us on, like I said, all podcast formats as well. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Play, all of them. Check us out on there if you want to listen to us on the go. So from myself, from Jeff, hey guys, thank you so much for joining us, and we will talk to you again really soon. Take care, everybody, and have a great wrestling week. See you all later.